The Women Beyond the Table is a community of empowered women who are rewriting the rules and taking their skills, knowledge, and wisdom beyond the table.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Women Beyond the Table podcast. My name is Tammy, and I am delighted to be here today with my favorite co-host, Caryn. And Caryn and I are very amped up today. Hey, Caryn.
Hey, Tammy. I am so happy to be here today.
Well, I'll tell everybody why we're very amped up, though, Car, because today on our table talk, we are here to discuss an immense subject, the role of the subconscious. Our table talk topic is taking the quantum dive with Anna Berger. Anna Berger is a subconscious mind communications and recoding specialist, and she is the CEO of the Quantum Mind Academy. She's also the author of Escape Your Matrix, How to Master the Game of Life, which, by the way, is an international bestseller. And Anna teaches her clients by giving them the tools to become their own mind recoder, allowing them to experience a total identity shift. Identity shift, this means going from chasing goals to attracting them, from being busy to productive, and from pursuing happiness to actually being fulfilled, which is the Holy Grail. Anna is today's expert, and we are thrilled to welcome, as I like to call her, the subconscious whisperer, to the conversation. So with that being said, hi, Anna, and welcome.
Hi, greetings from Australia. Thank you so much for having me. This is such a fascinating topic, so I'm really excited to talk to you about this.
Well, we are so excited to have you. And you know what? You are our first podcast guest from Down Under, so that's a big cause to celebrate. Yeah, Caryn? We're like,
absolutely.
Here we are. We've got Australia on the podcast. So
we have Australia, and I just want to say, Anna, I could not be more thrilled to speak with you today. This journey of yours that brought you to your now, if you will, is riveting, absolutely riveting. And how this all began, I was fascinated with your story in your great escape from this fire. So I would love some background story of how this came to be.
Wow. I don't often talk about how this whole thing came about, but if you've read the book, I actually, at the age of 23, I was I was told that as a female, I wouldn't be able to get into and create a big business in real estate. So to me, this was like a red flag for a bull, and I'm like, bring it on. I'm gonna show you. So 15 years in of extremely hard work, and I've built close to $250 million worth of construction business, which is a total male industry, real hard, especially when you're in your 20s and 30s, right? And so cut the long story short, we actually, at one stage, I had to take on financial partner who happened to be my lawyer. And while we were doing a massive project with about 4,500 homes, my family went through, we lived on a beautiful farm overlooking golf course, and we went through massive fires and almost got wiped out. I had to, rescue my 6 and 7 year old little girls and drive through paddocks to escape it. And while we were recovering from all of this, and we've lost about 126 neighbors in that summer,
oh my gosh.
While we were recovering, my financial partner decided to take advantage of it and stole the money. So actually, it's a long story, but literally I went from being a multi-millionaire down to zero in pretty much one day. I kid you not.
Wow.
This was just really tough experience, and being a lawyer, also extremely wealthy lawyer that ended up in court cases. And anyway, cut the long story short, right now I look back at it and I see it as a blessing, okay? Because what I didn't realize is I was really grinding it. I was working extremely hard, but it was more for the ego, driving the ego. It was all about this red flag, and you cannot do this, and I'll prove you wrong, and trying to prove people in my past, yes, I can do it, and and it was all about, it was just different priorities in life. And by actually going through this experience, first of all, I found myself for the first 2 years going, what the heck just happened? I don't know how to survive.
Yeah, you probably were like,
identity.
blown
Yeah,
away. Yeah.
absolutely. Lost my identity. I had no, like everything was connected to this business. Like, I was
Who
being
am I?
responsible.
Who am
Yeah,
I? Your whole
Yeah, it was a
identity.
huge sucker punch by your
oh,
partner,
it
and it
was
was a huge
massive.
sucker punch from life. That this, everything coming on your
Yeah.
head in one
That
time frame.
also that also really humbled me down, and it really made me ask questions like why did this happen? Like I was so, I was working hard, I was doing all the great things,
The
but
right
then
things that we were supposed to do, that
that's
we're
exactly
raised to
right.
do, and then the paradigm is just turned on its head, sort of.
Yeah. And so it took me probably 2 years to recover from that, but I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start something new. And it was back and forth, like there was just something, like I've lost confidence. Like I didn't know exactly, how I'm going to recover from all of these. And so I took time out and I took my family out of private schools, which I couldn't afford anymore. And we went traveling. And I was back
Wow.
to absolute basics. And I was lucky enough to just travel for 2 years and meet massive amount of people. And what I found very quickly is that people have this perception of what they are able to achieve or not. And a lot of the times, like let's say if I was traveling through United States, which I was there for 18 months, people were telling me I'd love to come to Australia, but I never could. And it's like, why couldn't you? Okay, and they've got these limits, these limitations, and and this is where I got really, interested in psychology. It's like, why do they think they have those restrictions? So anyway, cut the long story short, 15 years forward, been working as a business coach, teaching people, how to grow businesses to massive level the way that I did, but also what not to do in business, which I've learned my lessons painfully. But also what I've learned through, passion in psychology and also in quantum physics is that the business, how far you're going to grow your business depends on where you're mentally. Okay. If there is something that's stopping you, you're going to have this glass ceiling and you won't be able to go across. And this was so fascinating for me that I've just, threw myself into massive research and studying all these different fields. And actually ended up so initially I started as a business coach, but very quickly I would turn into a life coach. Even though a lot of my clients were multi-millionaires, they don't need a life coach, especially, maybe in America, it's a little bit more popular having life coaches. In Australia, it's a tall poppy syndrome. If you own a business, okay, you are up here and you don't need to be coached. Okay?
But I think that's what's great about your skill set is you actually have the business background and the life coaching background. A lot of people put out a shingle, I'm a life coach, I'm a coach, and they don't really have, and they want to coach in something and they don't have that business, experience. They never built anything actually to justify being a coach on that level. So tell me something. I think you're leading into the limitations. You're talking about your limitations in your mind and your glass ceiling. So you must be talking about the subconscious. So why don't you tell us about what the subconscious mind is and how it influences our lives, how it dramatically influences our lives, it seems. So let's get into that a little bit because it's fascinating.
Yeah, you bet. So subconscious seems to be a little bit of a buzzword. A lot of people talk about subconscious, but very few actually really understand what it is. And if you can think of your conscious mind as the intellect that we refer to, it's like a tip of an iceberg. What's underneath? It's a self-learning computer. If I could just use a metaphor to describe what subconscious mind is you arrive on planet Earth, you know nothing, and you've got this container, which is a self-learning computer. And from the second you are conceived, you are learning. And the computer it literally codes to create a character for you. Okay, so the first 7 years of your life, you're literally on hypnosis. You know how kids just run around and they, ride unicorns and they are Batman and they have this massive imagination. That's because the brain actually works on a theta vibration, which is like hypnosis. Okay, so they've got this half imagination, half reality. They might ask questions, but they only ask questions to simply put all this in a memory bank. Okay, and they actually do coding. So the computer program is created to help you survive. Okay, because obviously, there are two things that are important for the subconscious mind. One is that you are loved. Okay, because if they don't love you, they're just going to dump you on the side of a street and you're not going to get fed. Okay, so people have to love you, whoever, happens to be in your tribe. So when you first arrive. But secondly, the belonging. Okay, you have to be part of a group, so they look after you. Okay, so those two things are super important: love and belonging. Now, very, very quickly, like initially when parents, see kids and they all lovey-dovey until, you start doing things and they start rewarding for you for certain things. It's like, yay, you started walking, fantastic. Or, or they start telling you, don't touch this, don't touch that. Okay, subconscious mind is super, super sensitive to that. Okay, if, for example, a child's being rewarded for certain things, it will actually create a character that strives for this. Okay, because that's how I'm getting loved. And that's how I'm going to stay belonging to this group. If, let's say, for example, you're getting punished for something, okay, let's say, you grew up in a family where kids are, are not to be heard. Okay, it's like don't talk while parents are talking, or, adults are talking. Okay, that child literally gets a coding in, and the code goes in, which will later on in life have problem with being able to be seen.
So this is what creates our beliefs, Anna, correct? They're dispositional beliefs that we get before we're 7 years old. That 100%. Is so young.
Yeah. So these are the first, what we call anchor codes that go in. And what an anchor code, conscious mind can only compute about 40 bits a second. So even though we've got trillions of information around us, we cannot possibly get everything into our conscious mind. Subconscious operates on 40 million bits a second. So it's a superpower. It's like a million times more powerful than your conscious mind. And it controls 95% of what you do. Okay. And in some cases, like you see some people and you think, that one's like pretty much 100% robot. Okay. They don't even think anymore. But in most cases, it's 95%. So the conscious mind doesn't really get much say. Okay. Whatever gets coded, that's what stays. And whatever the first anchor belief got in, because the conscious mind cannot take so much in, it actually creates filters, okay? And the filter is called confirmation bias. So if your first belief was, I'm not good enough, okay? Because I've just been told off by my parents that that's it, I'm not good enough. You will spend your whole life collecting information through confirmation bias why you are not good enough. And you will spend, so by the time you're an adult, you've got filing cabinets full of why am I not good enough? Okay, and that just
you've got to confirm, because you're seeking out those situations that your subconscious understands, and it knows how to handle those not great situations, because that's what you grew up in and that's what you're coded to. And so it sounds like besides looking for love, I mean, it's also a matter of survival. I mean, the subconscious's goal is to keep you alive. That's it. Like that's, to me, the ancient brain that we really still have. It hasn't evolved that much. Is about surviving. And that you get exiled from your tribe, you're pretty much dead. So you don't want to get exiled from the tribe. And you'll do whatever it is to stay in that, be part of it. And I guess you carry that with you for your whole life. And it just plays out over and over and over again. But we have to love our subconscious, because we can't breathe. Our heart can't beat. It's all subconscious. So, there's that fine line between where does the subconscious where do we tell it we're okay? And to still allow it to do its very important functioning job, which it's controlling such a big percentage. So that's a fine line, I would say.
And what I find so interesting is that we look for information outside to prove that our beliefs are correct. So it's just we're proving to ourselves over and over again what our core beliefs subconsciously are telling us.
This is why if you ever get into argument, you are always right. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Amazing, yes.
Mine will always be proving you right. Okay, so whatever the first anchor belief was. Now, the program in itself, or this computer, it's just the most powerful, the most amazing thing in the world. The biggest issue with it, though, is that as a child, it actually assumes that everything that you're seeing is perfection. Okay, so if it sees parents talking to each other, not the way that we really would see, love story evolving, okay, this will actually take a screenshot, and that is a perfection. That is what's going to replicate for you in your future life. Okay, so that's why, very often when you get married to your father, almost like, somebody that's like your father, right? That is exactly because, and the instant when you fall in love with somebody, you meet somebody and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you forever. Why?
That familiarity.
My father, that's right. That's a blueprint. That's a blueprint that subconscious goes, yes, that's a person for you, right? So it actually literally just runs your whole life, and it creates the actual program creates different masks for you that you hide behind. Okay, so let's say, for example, if you're often women especially tend to be very, people pleasing. Okay, we love helping, and that was very often rewarded. Oh, good girl, well done. Okay, we want to be the good girl. Okay, people pleasing. So that actually, that jumping hoops to be loved becomes an issue later on in life as well, which shows in relationships, in business, in a lot of different things. So I guess to cut this long story short, subconscious mind is super powerful, but it's literally like giving a massive computer, like the newest computers right now, give it to your grandparents, okay, and they'll be like, what am I going to do with this? Okay, they don't know how to switch it on. Okay, that is how we deal with our subconscious mind. Most of us don't even know we have it. Okay, we've got no idea that it's running our life. However, if you do learn how to use it, and even though it is extremely, extremely complex, it's super logical. Okay, so if you understand how to communicate, you can actually communicate with your subconscious mind, and you can recode it. Okay, it's no different to having your phone. You know how you get the updates every few months? It's the same thing, except that our mind, we don't even know that we can do that. And because we don't do it, we operate on, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s program, okay, which doesn't suit us anymore. So, and it has a huge, huge effect. I understand, the audience that's listening to this are women in business. It affects your business on a huge scale. Yeah.
So you had discussed like the subconscious and how it's, operates on our it operates nonstop. It's like a screenplay that's playing, and it's just keeps going. So, you touch on some of the tricks that the subconscious uses to sabotage, especially if this would appeal to a lot of the listeners, the road to success. Whatever success, some people, success for them is making money. Some people, success for them is being happy. Some people, success is different ways to look at success. But the subconscious will, sabotage you on certain ways, especially if you've been coded, from 0 to 7, like you said, in a way that wasn't to necessarily going to serve you the rest of your life so well. So can you give us like 5 tricks that the subconscious uses? And because I'm sure most of us will recognize these and have to own the fact that, yeah, that's our subconscious. We've experienced that, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Do before you actually go into the different tricks that subconscious uses, because it's got millions of tricks up its sleeve, and there are some that are much more common than others. But if you actually understand the power of conscious mind, so, most of the personal development things that we do, it's all about improvement, right? We want to improve ourselves. And let's say, for example, we decide we want to start a new business, okay? And we go into this, hard work, okay? We're just going to absolutely, push through it, and we're going to get it, and we're going to become successful, okay? That is like, if you can imagine being on like an elastic band, okay? And subconscious mind's holding you back. This is like you're trying to go on a bicycle on a little trip, and subconscious mind is just sitting back going, all right, off you go. Go and experience it a little bit, and once you get a little bit too far, it just pulls you straight back. Okay, and the power of the subconscious mind is like if you were to compare a bicycle to a bullet train. Okay, if it's not aligned, there's no chance. Doesn't matter how much hard work you put into it, doesn't matter what you do, eventually it will trip you over. And this is, you know, when I talked about how I've lost my business, I did it for 15 years, 15 years of like working 16, 17 hours a day, hard work, but because I was so determined, so, you know, I was like, I'm going to make it. I'm going to definitely make it, even though I was making way too much money that I could ever spend. But it was just like, you know, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And subconscious mind was just waiting there going, all right.
You run, you keep running. Exactly.
That's it, yeah. But look, out of the most common tricks that it uses, okay, the first one would be definitely the imposter syndrome. Okay, so you're trying to get into new business and your subconscious mind is like, you're not good enough for that. You need to learn a little bit more, okay? And it doesn't matter how much you learn, it will constantly be throwing into all these, you know, you got to do this course and you got to do this one before you start. Like, you know, so you're always going to be comparing yourself to everybody else. And your subconscious mind will be bringing all these different things into your attention through confirmation bias, going, hey, there's another course. You need to do this. You need to get this PhD. You need to become doctor in this and doctor in that before you can actually speak to any clients, right? It will be throwing all this your way and making you feel like you're not good enough to be able to start, okay? That is a brilliant trick, because and that is how seminar junkies are being born, right? Because they just go from seminar to seminar to seminar to seminar, and you're learning 10 steps to this and 50 steps to that, and you think that you're going to win against the subconscious mind, okay? Subconscious mind's like, oh, look, there's another course and another course. Go check this one out, okay? So that's trick number one. Second one, perfectionism, okay?
That's me.
That's it. Let's get everything
It's the
perfect.
enemy of good work, right?
That's it. Now, we all know there's no such thing as perfection, but hey, the subconscious mind will make you think that everything has to be perfect, okay? And that is, again, this is from childhood. You know, you were either rewarded for the fact that, you know, everything's done perfectly and the line is straight and the circles and you color inside a box, either rewarded for that or punished, okay? It's like, you know, why didn't you do this properly? Okay, so either one of those will actually create you into a perfectionist. Okay, and a perfectionist often feels I'm not good enough. Okay, this is not, you know, and they want to have some kind of control of something. Okay, and that's why subconscious mind will go, look, a business card. Why don't we spend 3 months designing a most beautiful business card? And then we're going to spend another 3 years designing a website. Okay, and it will just create all these different things that you have to do before you start. Okay, perfect trick to stop you from succeeding. Okay, and it will always, you know, obviously, you know, as a business owner, you would know that you have to make decisions and you have to, you know, change, evolve as you go with business. Okay, if you're a perfectionist, it's very, very hard. It's a hard yakka to be able to, you know, to go forward. Yes. It just takes much, much longer, right? Another one, paralysis analysis. You know, when you just overthink everything. Subconscious mind, okay, what it does. So one of the things that I teach in my courses is that it's really important to understand that everything happens in the now. Okay, but the mind takes you into past tense or into future tense. Past tense, future tense. Okay, this is how it plays tricks. Okay, the more it actually gets you stuck in a past tense, that's how depression develops. Okay, if it gets you into future tense, you get anxiety. Okay,
yeah, you worry about things that haven't happened.
That's it. And you know, you like the amount of things that you worry about that will never ever happen, right? But the subconscious mind goes to the memory bank and goes, well, based on this experience, this could happen, this could happen. I mean, you might as well just be trying to guess lotto tickets.
That's a great analogy.
And have the anxiety that you didn't win lotto.
That's it. So it just keeps on predicting, okay? And we get stuck on this future tense and get into anxiety. So constantly, but what if this happens? So I need to have a backup plan. What if that happens? I have to have a back. And the subconscious mind is so creative. It'll come up with all these different things that could potentially happen.
Horrible things too.
Terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, procrastination. Okay, that's a big one as well. You know, you get on YouTube to learn something and you suddenly find yourself, you know, going for all these different YouTube videos and you tend to be busy but not effective, not productive. Okay, whenever you feel that you're constantly busy but you're spinning wheels, okay, that is procrastination. So subconscious mind will be like, oh, there's another course, or check this out, check this video, or maybe I should learn these, and it's just being forgetful, and also getting a little bit of a foggy, like let's say not having the clarity of exactly what you want. Okay, that's a massive subconscious mind trick. Okay, it's like ABC of tricks of subconscious mind.
Or when you have a big project to do and you just keep putting it off because,
oh yeah,
and actually that's the project that you actually do need to do because it is what you need. You need an outcome, yes, and you just don't get to it. Yeah.
And so often I find that when we do procrastinate and we put it off and then finally when we just say we're going to do it, like it goes like it didn't take that long. Like it took nothing, and it was just such a big
100%.
thing in our head.
100%. And like when sometimes people have this coding, and a lot of people do, of I'm not worthy of the money coming in, the procrastination, you might have 10 projects, one of them will bring you income, you'll make sure that you finish all the 9 before you even touch this one, right? It's like, no, you don't see it, concentrate on this one, you got to do this first. Yeah, that's typical trick. So the not worthiness, I'm not worthy of something. And that could have happened, as silly as it sounds, when you were a child and you wanted a little puppy and your parents said, you don't deserve a dog, you're not even looking after your toys. Okay? Child doesn't translate it that it's just simply to do with the dog and not looking after the toys. The child just takes in the coding, I don't deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that will show up in your life over and over in different situations, whether it's through love life, through fitness, through business, it doesn't matter what, but it will have an effect on your life. So that's a really, really big one. And the last one I'd like to mention, which is a really scary one, it's the designated patient. Okay, and what it is, the mask that it will throw on you is that again, like let's say, you know how sometimes you're just doing lots of work and then you get a headache. Like, has a headache ever saved you from doing stuff? Yeah.
Or worse yet, you can, really get sick. I mean, really get sick because emotionally you're not regulating.
Or you're just so exhausted you can't possibly do anything else. Like you can't think. You're so exhausted. Something to that effect.
That is your subconscious protecting you. Okay, protecting you from success, protecting you from whatever it thinks that it's unsafe for you to do. Subconscious controls your whole biology. Okay, there's 37 trillion, some doctors believe that there is 50, I've never counted them, 50 trillion cells, lots of cells, right, in your body, and it controls everything. Okay, so anything that shows up as a sickness in your body is controlled by the subconscious mind. Okay, and it's usually to do with your emotions, believe it or not. A lot of people don't realize that, but emotions like stress is responsible for 95%, maybe 90% of all the sicknesses or anything that you come across. The rest is the chemicals that we put into our body through food and medicine or whatever, right? But so the subconscious controls it. Now, going back to your childhood, if a child, let's say for example, you got really busy, loving but very busy parents, right? And suddenly you fall over and your mom goes, Caryn, come here, I'll give you a hug. Okay, love. Subconscious mind goes, that's how I'm getting love. That's the only time that I can stop my mom from being so busy. So I'm going to do that. Okay, and if that happens a couple of times, subconscious mind goes, okay, that's the way to do it. Okay, so we'll actually get the fact that you getting sick is how you survive. Okay?
Because people are paying attention to you because you're sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anna,
Absolutely.
I can tell you that like every of these 5 things are things that I experience and I deal with. The interesting thing is that I didn't have a name for all those. I didn't have like title names for what they were. It just was part of my psyche. I'm just happy to say now that when it's happening, I'm like, I talk to my subconscious and I say, okay, this is what you're dealing with. This is what you're thinking. Okay, stop right now. But I didn't know that. And one of the reasons that I can do that is because I was fortunate enough to take your course and go through it and learn about the subconscious and how to recognize the role of the subconscious, how to love it, really love it, even though it's clearly these things are not, these tricks are not things that you should love, but love it because its whole role is to protect us. And it's like, it doesn't know like you're a grown up anymore. It doesn't really know. It's just trying to keep, what it thinks is to keep you safe. So you have to love your subconscious, but you also have to be able to say like, okay, the conscious part of me is in control and I recognize what's happening and we don't have to do this anymore because I'm okay and I can handle this and I recognize what it is. So is that, would you say, is that one of the steps that you teach when it goes into recoding, as to how to recognize, but to be more in touch with that part of you that's kind of driving this behavior, these different behaviors?
Look, there is two ways of doing this. Okay, so it's sort of like there's a few steps along the way to do the actual recoding. First of all, you need to really do a proper search for your subconscious mind. It's almost like going to the back of a website, when you've got all the codes, and look for the error codes. Okay, and look for those anchor beliefs or anchor codes that got coded at the beginning and change them. Okay, and we do that, as you would know, you've done my course, you actually do it through self-hypnosis, which is bringing back to the same level of brain vibration that you had when you were a child, when it got in. Okay, now if you do it like, I always in my bio sometimes I'll say that I don't believe in affirmations, and people get really angry about it. Affirmations is you doing it consciously, and then you've got this little character in your head constantly arguing with you. Like you said, I'm successful, and you little, I call it a little Siri, like the one in the phone. And, little Siri goes, yeah, right. You're not successful in this, and you've got all this argument going on, right? So this is why it's so important to bypass the conscious mind and go straight into subconscious, okay? And you do it through bringing it back into the level where your conscious mind actually is asleep, okay? And I teach you the way to do it, but to do it with your own voice, okay? Because your subconscious, the character that you have in here, the gatekeeper to actually get into subconscious, is very, very curious. And it's like, I always think of subconscious mind like a overprotective parent, okay? I almost imagine it like being like a really loving Italian, nonna that's hugging you. It's like, no, you're not allowed to do this. You got to stay at home, okay? Because you're gonna get yourself in trouble. That's what subconscious mind is, okay? And you got to love it for it. Can it be changed? Yes, it can be changed. It can be changed extremely easily, okay? So you got to search for all the different codes. Now, people sort of try to work on the beliefs. I'm going to change my belief, okay? If you utilize any of the techniques, and NLP is fantastic, for example, neuro-linguistic programming, but it does it one at a time, okay? And it takes a little while to change it. When we do search for subconscious mind, with my students, we usually find 300-400 of them. You're going to be doing this for years if you're doing it one at a time, okay? With this one, you actually are learning how to pick what they are and how to change them. Okay, so that's number one. Secondly, another important part is to learn how the conscious mind communicates with the subconscious, okay? Because you actually have to become a boss. Because most of the time it's the subconscious that's in the driving seat, okay? Just pushes you over, hypnotizes you. It's like, you've got no idea what you're doing, let me drive, okay? Conscious mind has to recognize, first of all, that it has this responsibility for the subconscious mind. That's the only one that's got free will. Even though it might be so little in comparison, that's the only one that's got free will, and it can recode the subconscious mind. Not that it's going to be easy, because subconscious mind's like, look, there is another seminar, there is something else, it's got all these tricks that's going to be pulling on you. But if you actually get totally committed to doing this, you do the search, you do the recoding, and then you learn how to consciously communicate with your subconscious. Okay, one of the things that subconscious mind, to the subconscious mind, everything's in present tense. Okay, so when you're setting a goal, that's I will in the future, I will earn $1 million by 2023. Okay, for subconscious mind, that's not now. Okay, you will always be stuck in I will. And in fact, what you're actually communicating to subconscious mind is I don't have it. Okay. When
Yes.
that communication goes in, that becomes your wish. And your subconscious mind spins the wheels, and you're going to be wishing for that $1 million for the rest of your life.
So would you say the I ams or the I haves are better ways to communicate with the subconscious than
Absolutely.
I will? Like I am.
100%. Don't ever use future tense. Okay. Don't use past tense. Don't use everything's now.
And positive, like you have to keep positive, because once you use a negative word, it only focuses on the negative word. And like,
you've been paying attention to the course.
I pay attention. Yeah. But it's, I found fascinating that also one of the things that was really interesting to me is not just besides speaking in your voice, because a lot of times we listen to recordings from other people and it's like our subconscious, like, who cares? But like your voice is different, but also imaging, using images to go with the affirmation, because tell us about that. The subconscious doesn't really quite get language, it gets images more, which is very interesting.
So every communication, whether it's a thought or a word, gets translated into an image. Okay, so it's an image followed by, so it's like every thought is an image, but it's like a two-sided coin. It's got emotion on the other side. Okay, so now let's say, for example, if you say, and it doesn't understand words like don't, or like, let's say, for example, anti-gun laws, for example, right? It doesn't understand what the anti means.
It just used the other word.
Yeah, so it's like we're fighting against terrorism. Okay, it doesn't understand anything except for the terrorism. So the subconscious mind, what you're asking for, you're actually asking for what you don't want.
Right,
Things like, if you say, I better not eat this cake because I'm going to get fat. Okay, if you were to translate it, and the way that I teach is I try to teach it so a 5-year-old can understand. If you had flashcards, when you were learning how to speak or read, you had those cards that say bowl.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember those cards, the flashcards for
the
kids. Yeah.
So let's say if you say, I can't eat this cake. Okay, so the picture of a cake goes in because I'm gonna get fat. Okay, the picture of you fat goes in. So subconscious mind looks at it and says, oh, the boss wants to eat the cake and get fat. Fantastic. All right, that's what
gotta love it.
So we need to learn how to communicate. So we need to change the language that we use to say, I choose healthy food, or I choose, vegetables.
I eat healthy food. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Not anti-war, but
sleek and lean.
That's it.
I'm a sleek machine.
That's it. I love that.
I like it.
So, and once you learn how to communicate, you can literally, people teach meditations and they teach all this. They are great things, but they take a really long time. You can literally close your eyes. I don't even close my eyes sometimes. Just say a command, a subconscious reacts to it. Once you train it, and once the conscious understands how to communicate it. Okay, so let's say, that voice in your head that sort of constantly argues with you. Mine doesn't argue with me. Mine, we just have an absolute ball. Like, let's say, for example, sometimes, there is a comment that somebody makes, and, my little Siri goes, makes a joke out of it. And it's like, it doesn't really, because once you have that really, really good understanding of how the subconscious mind works and the actual program works, you get so much compassion for people around you, because you'll understand that it's not their fault that this is the way they are. Okay, that doesn't give them necessarily an excuse, because once they know, okay, they can do something about it. But most of us, we're just product, people say, Buddha even says, what's the quote? That we create our world with our thoughts. Well, that's correct. But the thoughts that got into our mind weren't ours. Well, they were just a dumping station of anybody that walked past us in the first 7 years of our lives. We had no choice what went in. Okay, you had no choice of what parents you had, what school you went to, what bullies you came across. You had no choice in that. Okay, what I'm giving people is the opportunity to actually learn how to change it. And once you actually recode it, then the difference is like, actually, I'll use a quote. Lillian, I think, from your group is somebody that has actually finished one of my
Yes,
masters.
Lillian did it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she just used this beautiful metaphor. She said, you know what? Right now, I feel like before it was all sort of, getting angry about this, getting angry about that, and, being triggered by all these different things. Now I just feel like God's driving a limousine and I'm just sitting in the back enjoying it.
I love that so
very
much.
Lily, and that's very Lily. But you know what? It really makes sense with what you're saying, because one of the most liberating things is realizing that, that how people's actions and what they say, it's not about you at all. And once you realize it's not directed, it's not even about you, it has nothing to do with you. It's just so liberating, because we all have our ways we were brought up and thoughts, and we act upon them, and getting control over that is our job. Because what do you say in your course? Your conscious is the sovereign.
That's right. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the conscious is the sovereign, and you have to get control over that. So Anna, what is the best way for people to reach you? Because I think that there isn't a person in this audience that doesn't want to start recoding their subconscious like yesterday. Okay. So what's the best way to reach you?
Look, you can, I'll give you my email address. I can contact via email, but what I have given you is a little ebook that goes through the five little tricks the subconscious mind makes. Whatever we've just discussed, it's sort of like in a short form. And right at the end, we've just launched a new program, which actually, because normally when I do assessment of someone's subconscious recoding, when I do an assessment, it takes about 2.5 hours, and it's really intense, like you're going through your whole past experiences, etc., to be able to pick up on all those codes. We've tried to create a program that will assess that. Okay, now it's not 100% perfect. Like obviously, it will not replicate a human conversation, but it's a really good starting point that will actually let you know, by doing this assessment, it will actually let you know what masks your subconscious mind has picked up. Okay, and it probably takes about half an hour, and anyone that's going to be reading this ebook will get it for free. Okay, so
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is the ebook on your website, or is it a separate download? This way, we want people to come to be able to contact you. So what is your website? Can you just say your website name for us so that they can reach out to you?
Yes. So I've actually sent you the ebook, so I'm not quite sure where the postcard's going to be. You can have it there, or you can just simply go into quantummindacademy.com. Okay, quantummindacademy, one word, .com.
Perfect. This is how people will reach out to you. We want to make sure that they have that information. It's really important. And the ebook, that will be in the show notes, most probably, the link for the ebook. So I didn't know if you also had it on your website, because some people like to visit the website, download, and then take a look. So I didn't know.
Okay. Well, the ebook,
I am loving this book, Anna. It's riveting, and I love it. It's a page turner, and this is very important. It's important information that is enlightening and riveting at the same time.
By the way, Caryn just held up the book, Escape Your Matrix, How to Master the Game of Life by Anna Berger. So it's available on Amazon. So try to order it as soon as possible, because it is a game changer. Anna, thank you so much for taking the time to be a guest today and for being on this podcast. We had a great time talking to you. And as always, I don't know, I find it so enlightening to learn more about the subconscious. And Caryn and I are really grateful that you found the time to be on with us today.
Thank you so much, Anna. This was wonderful.
Very welcome. And look, I'm on a mission to recode 10,000 minds. So make sure that yours is one of those. And let's change the world one human at a time, hey?
I'm into that system.
So much.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. We would love your support, so please leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast. If you are interested in hearing more of the Beyond the Table podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. Check out the show notes to find out how to reach us, and remember, you are strong, intelligent, and sensational. You are beyond the table.